You know what I mean? Hi, everyone. Welcome. Sorry, I'm
Yes.
just randomly gonna
No, you're good.
kick it off,
Welcome.
Megan. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome to the Wellness Warriors Community Connection Call. I am Megan McClenny, and we are going to connect a little bit tonight on mindset and business. Um, so, just kind of to recap, because my team was asking me this, so you all might have the same question. So, just to recap, um, the first week of the month, we will talk about the promos. The second week of the month is going to be product testimonies and product highlight. And so that's actually a really great call to invite potentials to, or
Mhm.
existing, customers or people just getting started so that it can help build their belief. So I would really encourage you to keep that in mind second Tuesday of the month, especially if you have any hangups around the corporate calls being at 9 o'clock at night or whatever it is Eastern time, and you're finding you're not inviting to those. This is a little bit earlier. It's a little more intimate, so you've got options. So I just want to kind of reiterate that. Um,
And I think sorry if I can just add in too. I think it's valuable to say these are all people from our own little Plexus family, like our own team. That's
exactly,
makes it
exactly.
more meaningful sometimes. So,
Right, right. And it's kind of more casual than the presentation style that we had with the Pink 15. So I like that as well. Just to kind of shake it up a little bit. And then also the third Tuesday of the month, we will talk about a health topic. So we've done weight loss so far, and Kate hosted last time, and I missed it, and I'm so sad. But I guess it was a really great conversation around IBS. So it's just a health topic. And so then this brings us to this call. And this call, we're going to talk about mindset and business. And I actually did ask a couple of friends to come on and share their testimonies, but they were not able to. So instead of sharing mine, and I'm happy to share mine, but I think a lot of you already kind of know my story, especially if you're on my team. So I'm happy to do that. But I got talking with some of you, and last month, Whitney hosted 100 reach out challenge. And what I found when I talked to people, and I won't call anyone out, was that people, even people that have been doing this a long time, and I'll just like name myself, like struggle with reach outs. That's the thing that I struggle with the most. Some people struggle more with posting, but I find like most people struggle with reaching out. And so I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to ask you all, is that something that you struggle with? And if it is, what's the story that you're telling yourself about that? So I'm going to be quiet and let you unmute yourselves.
I
And
struggle.
yeah,
And the stories that I tell myself, because there are probably many,
right?
are based around judgment
Fear of
of,
being judged.
yes,
Yeah.
in different ways. Oh, it's the whole back to the pushy salesy. Yeah, I guess it revolves around that.
Okay. So fear of being judged, and fear of them thinking you're being pushy and salesy,
Mhm.
judged as pushy and salesy. Anyone else? Something similar or different? I have another one, but I'll let you come up. I'll let y'all come up with yours.
I mean, even at my rank, I still struggle with reach outs. And for me, do you know what it has become over the years is I am afraid that I'm not going to take good care of them once I sign them up.
Ah,
Because
uh-huh.
I feel really confident doing the reach outs and getting people started, but then I feel like I dropped the ball. Like that's the story I tell myself. So
Okay.
that's my
That's me.
fear is I won't take good care of them. That's you, Jen?
That's your
That's
2, Jen?
absolutely me. Yep.
Okay.
Hmm.
So then it's better. So then like your subconscious is telling you like, don't
Don't do
reach
it.
out because you're doing them a favor because you're just going to drop the ball on them anyway. Interesting. Okay. So Whitney and Jen both have that same fear. Okay. Anyone else?
Let's hear from everyone if they're willing. I would
Yeah,
love to
that's a good
hear
idea.
some more.
Yeah.
I know Carol is actually really consistent with reach outs, and I don't think she struggles as much as a lot of us do.
I do. I just
Okay.
make myself do it.
Okay.
Good
I
girl.
get so there's times there when we did that challenge, there's sometimes it'd be 10 o'clock at night and I still hadn't sent the message off because I'd been pushing myself and I'm like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do it. And then I would distract myself with something else to do so I didn't have to do it. But I just said, I can't go to bed until I do it. That's kind of what I did.
Mhm.
And so I'm just clicking all the little okays are all over. And then my biggest fear is if I put the work in and then it doesn't happen, then I feel like I've just like put all the work in and nothing happened.
Okay. So you're afraid of like doing the work and not having it bear fruit.
Exactly.
Okay. I don't have that fear. That's so interesting. This is fascinating to me.
Isn't it?
Uh-huh.
I think Raquel was trying to share something too.
Yeah,
You're
go
good to go, Raquel. Do you want here? I'll ask you to unmute if that helps.
Oh, I'm telling my child to turn down the TV so that I can unmute.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
let's see. I think some of mine comes from like not having a personal testimony of some of the products. So I'm
Mhm.
like I need to be more familiar with it, or like I don't know enough to feel like I can share with confidence. And then some of mine comes from that I've been like an introvert for so long, just my own personal family, and like I've given everything to my kids. Like all I wanted to do and be was a mother, and now I'm like feeling like God's calling me to like expand that and to help people, and I know there's a need, and um people are struggling. And so, but the problem that I'm having is like I don't, because I've brought it in and like only focused on my family for so long, and I didn't care, like it would appear that I didn't care about anyone else, which maybe I didn't, I don't know, like because I was just so in
That was your
focus.
focus. Yeah.
Yes, that and I don't regret my choices, like I'm happy that I did that.
Yeah.
Especially with my marriage and stuff like that, like it's worth it. But now I'm like, I don't actually, the story I'm telling myself is I don't know that many people, I don't have that many followers, I've like ghosted these people for so long, or like good friends, that like now it's like, oh, now we can be friends because I have something to offer you. It feels, it shouldn't, but it like that's where I get stuck, because I'm
I
like,
can see that.
how do
Yeah.
you like reach out to people that you haven't talked to in all these years, or like I don't know. But I did, some of the trainings were like, hey, I've seen you in my DMs, or like, hey, I've seen you in my stories. Like I've recently become a health coach, and I'm like, these are the products that have been so helpful. So but I don't think of these ideas on my own. So like when I go to trainings and hear how other people are doing it, that's super helpful for me, but I haven't actually put it into action yet. Like I'm just like taking the information, but I'm not I'm not being proactive with it yet.
So
Yeah,
can I make one suggestion?
please.
Take one of those things. Don't do any more trainings until you take one of those things and implement it.
Yeah.
Because we feel like we are plexusing when we attend trainings,
Yeah.
and we didn't send a single solitary reach out. And so we've all gotten into this before, all of us.
Sure.
And in that, all of that amazing information isn't going to help you unless you put it into action, and it'll feel good. So pick the one thing that resonates with you that you can do right away.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
love that. And also, Raquel, let me just add too that like, part of what we do, like our job is to be social. And I would say in a situation like yours, that just warming up your social media by like starting to comment on
Yeah.
posts not Plexus related, but just showing people, hey, I'm here. Like, I know I've been busy, like what mom hasn't? And there's so many women that can relate to that of what you're feeling of like, you know, I've spent all these years with my focus on my husband and my kids, and now I'm feeling called to something more. And like that is a beautiful message, you
Yeah,
know?
I was thinking that too. Like if you haven't posted that, that's a great post.
Really, it is. But I mean, if you're so frozen up that all you're doing is consuming and you're not doing anything with what you're consuming, then I would say like that's a big win for you to just get social, just
Yeah.
rekindle relationships, just get on and comment on people's posts. So you start to show up as a social, you know, friendly person again to them. And then it's going to feel a lot more natural to you.
Yeah,
And
it's
see,
not gonna feel as
I don't think that's the
icky.
right advice for everyone because there's a lot of people that, you know, they'll use that as an excuse kind of I'm just going to build relationships for now. And then they
Yeah.
never like that feels more comfortable. So they never get to the point where they do any asks or invites. But in a situation like yours where that's like freezing you up, I would just say, just start commenting on, like, get out there, get social for a while, you know?
Yeah.
That'd work.
Something that I just took away from what you said, Raquel, is like you're quiet, you've been in quiet, you're an introvert, and now you wanna just shout from the world, the rooftops about Plexus. So like I think you have that going for you because people are going to be like, oh, she's talking, she's saying something, and like I think that is a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
I
passion
love
and
that
that
thought, Kate,
calling.
because
Mhm.
it's true, because they'll be like, wow, this must be really important to her because she's
Exactly.
usually really quiet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a good point, Kate. I love that.
Yeah.
I think I'm afraid of no's, but I think another reason why I procrastinate with reach outs is for me more time. Because like when I think about it, I'm thinking, okay, usually around 8, 9, more like 9 or later. And I feel like that's too late to send a message out to
Mhm.
someone. So then I don't do it. Um, time is something I need to work on with the reach outs. I need to do it earlier in the day and plan.
Also, I think that sounds like maybe an excuse that you're giving yourself because especially if you're like sending messages through Messenger, I think just kind of the common, I don't know, this is just how I feel, but I feel like that's something like people check at their convenience. And so most people don't have notifications onto Messenger unless at least most of the people I know. But I
Just my
think
mother.
9
Just
o'clock
my
is,
mother's
like,
got
totally.
notifications for everything.
Mhm.
What
Some
was
people
that?
do. I have the same fear as Kate. I will not message somebody after 9 o'clock at night.
Well, yeah, after 9 o'clock, but if you have like if you're going from 8 till 9, like that's plenty acceptable, I would think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it could, maybe that's not legit, but I was like, maybe that we sometimes look for excuses of like, oh, but now it's 8 o'clock and it's too late. I don't think 8 o'clock is
8
definitely-
o'clock's not too late. 9 o'clock's too late. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
9 o'clock's too late. I think that's
Funny,
exactly.
I have that feeling when it comes to a text message, but on social media, I'm like, it's fair game.
yeah, same. I've always felt the same way, Stacy. So I agree with that.
Okay,
But-
that's cool. Yeah. But I won't be sending messenger messages after 9. Jen, oh, you shared that what your hang up was. Who are we missing? Oh, Barb.
Yeah, Barb hopped on. And welcome Susie for the first time. Jennifer said this is her friend from where, Jen?
If she lives in London, actually, she's been on the last like 3 weeks now on the Tuesday night
Oh,
calls. She loves community, and she's going to be coming with me on Saturday to our summit in Toronto. So I'm excited. Anyway, she's loving the community and the women, and she's just starting on the product. She's done a reset, and she's on BioCleanse right now, which she's loving. So anyways,
Yeah.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Susie. That's so cool. Love that.
Barb, what we were discussing is like, if you struggle with reach outs, is that something that you struggle with? Barb's like does reach outs like a boss. I think probably better than any, maybe not better than Carol, but like if not, they're tied. Like they're the top two in my opinion for wellness warriors. So do you struggle? And if you do, what's the story that you tell yourself about that? She's trying to
can
unmute.
somebody unmute Barb, who's got
Can you unmute her?
Did you mute her? Whitney? There she is.
Sorry, my brother after 62 days came home from the hospital this afternoon, so I'm kind of en route, but
Oh my God.
Oh my
I turned my
goodness,
Zoom on so I could
Barb.
hear.
That is amazing news.
It is. We didn't think he'd make it, but
Oh,
he's home. He's got a long road ahead of him, but he's home.
oh my
Wow.
God. Oh,
Okay,
that's
so my
such a-
reach outs when I first started, I really struggled because every time they told me, "Oh no, I'm not interested," I took it personally. And I remember Whitney telling me, "Oh, you should start sharing." And I thought, no, I don't want to share, and that's not why I'm here. I'm here for the products. And I really had to work on changing my mindset and realizing that I'm not really trying to sell something to somebody, I'm trying to help them. And I think that was the thing that really, I finally got that through my head. I'm not trying to sell, I'm trying to share and help people feel better. And once I got the mindset right, then it was easier for me. And I, told myself, okay, they're not ready right now. And lots of times now, when I reach out, I might get a message and then, 6 months later, hey, you've messaged me a couple times and I think now it's the time. And, once I got that through my head, I think that's what helped me is realizing that I'm helping them. I'm not selling something.
Yes, I love that. You've had a lot of growth, and because I remember you saying to me once earlier in your reaching out that because of so many people associate Plexus with weight loss, you didn't want them to think you were calling them fat.
Right.
Like,
I did.
"Hey,
That bothered
I
me.
noticed you're big. You must need Plexus." Right?
And can you
Isn't it
believe
funny what our
after
brains
Christmas, I
do?
said, you may
Like,
have gained some winter fluff,
Uh-huh.
and they liked it.
Right, right.
So,
Because it's fun, it
Yeah.
wasn't, yeah.
right.
Well, and that's what helps me too, but sometimes I have to remind myself
Yep.
and like, okay, and Tamara Mullen, she like will kind of pray and be like, Lord, give me a name. And like whatever name pops into her head, she'll message them from her runs.
Yeah.
She'll send them a voice message while she's huffing and puffing. And so then they know she didn't just copy and paste to everybody in her, right? They're like, oh,
Right.
she's thinking about me while she's running. Yeah. So she's had good luck with that. Well, thank you for sharing that. So then what do we do? I know we've got to move on, but so what are some strategies? So Barb just shared what helped her, like coming at it from a heart space. Carol shared her tip of like, I can't go to bed until I've done it. I have done that when we've done reach out challenges before. I got in my car once after a Bible study and I was like, Megan, you can't go home until you send 3 messages. And I needed to go home. So whatever games you need to play with yourself until you can get her done, And I'll tell you what, on that drive home, I felt on top of the world because I'd just done the hard thing. So then it was so much easier to check on people and all the other things. Yeah.
love that. Okay, can I take over now, Megan? Is that cool?
Okay.
Okay, I love how this just was the perfect segue into the business building portion of our training tonight, which is actually going to be a little bit of mindset coaching and hopefully really helpful to take us to the next level. Now that we've kind of shared what are our hesitations, what is it that holds us back from doing reach outs? And it may not even be reach outs necessarily for some people, but there is, I mean, is there anyone here who is going like full speed ahead and having all the success that they possibly would want with this business? Raise your hand if so, because we definitely want to acknowledge that and celebrate you and say, you be the trainer now, okay? But if not, because I think that that's just, you know, we would all love to have more success, be able to reach and help more people, be able to earn that Alaska cruise, like whatever it is for us, that is why we're here, why we show up, and why we're participating in this business building training. We're on a path and aiming for something that we haven't reached yet. And so I'm going to do a little thought coaching exercise, and maybe some of you have done this before. It's pretty common, I think, in the coaching world, but it's one that Carol and I both participated in a pretty intense, what was that, 3-month coaching for a while back. And this really stood out to me. And Megan and I were having a discussion, what was it, a week or two ago. And she was saying, you know, we've got all these amazing leaders on our team that have had certain levels of success, but there's different things holding them back. You know what I mean? And so this came to mind because this can really help you get to the bottom of what is it that's preventing you from making that progress that you really want to make, and how can you shift that and flip it over and turn it on its head. So this is called the CTFAR training. If you have something you can jot down some notes on, this is going to be really super helpful. And I want to make this very personalized per person. So if you can, like I said, grab a pen and a paper. If you are on your phone, then even just like open up the notes on your phone. So the CTFAR stands for circumstances trigger our thoughts, which produce certain feelings, which generate actions, and that causes our results, okay? And our brain will look for evidence of these different beliefs or thoughts that we make around our circumstances that literally will lead to our results. It's CTFAR. So if you want to just on your paper, like do a CTFAR down your paper. And so the first one is our circumstance. So I want you to define what your circumstance is right now, and specifically on what's holding you back from having success in your business. You can use messaging, or, you know, maybe you have a hang up around network marketing. Like, to me, network marketing feels icky and I'm kind of embarrassed to be part of it. It could be that. Whatever it is, say, here is your circumstance. My circumstance is I am holding myself back from having the success I would like in my business because blank, okay? Now, the circumstance is just a fact. Like, you know, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. That's just the truth. That's where we are. But it creates some thoughts in our head. And we want to identify what that main thought is that comes up most often for us. So Jen and we could say, my thought is, because I'm not growing my business as fast as I would like, my thought is that I don't want to sign people up because I don't take good care of them. I dropped the ball, you know? Or maybe Barb could at one point said, I don't want to reach out to my friends because maybe they'll think I'm calling them fat. because they think I'm selling a weight loss product, whatever it is. So what is your thought around that circumstance of why you're not reaching the level of success that you want as quickly as you want? Okay, and now that thought produces what feeling for you? Like for me, that feeling of I hesitate to sign people up because then I feel like I'm just going to drop the ball on them and let them down. That makes me feel like I'm not a good person. That makes me feel bad about myself. Like I don't love people well because I'm going to disappoint them. I'm going to let them down. So what is that feeling that you get when you think about that thought? How does that make you feel? Write that down. Okay, and then that feeling generates an action for you. So for a lot of us, that action might be, I freeze up and I just don't send messages. What is the action that is resulting from the feeling that you're feeling around that thought? For me, I procrastinate and I find other things to do. Can I get an amen, Jen? Yes. Thanks, Megan. That's super helpful. Okay. Now, what is the result of the action that you're taking because of the way that you feel over that thought that you keep replaying in your head about why you're not growing your business as quickly as you might like? The result is, I'm not growing my business as quickly as I'd like. I'm not signing people up right now, okay? Let's just be honest, because I haven't been doing the work. Now, we're going to take that and flip it around by just simply retraining our brain to a different thought. And this is going to take some practice, but whatever that main thought is that's holding you back, that's really important that you have that figured out. Because now we're going to have to flip it around on top of its head. So I want you to look for some evidence in your business, in your life, that proves that that thought you're having is actually not true. Do you know what my evidence is? That I'm actually a really good person and I really love people well. And I actually do take really good care of people in my business a lot of times. I've had people with amazing results. I have people, you know, that have incredible testimonies because I shared with them and supported them well. And I have people that have amazing business results because I supported them well. Was I perfect? No, but there's evidence that I did a good job with a lot of people. So that's the evidence that I'm going to focus on to flip that thought around and change that thought. So what is your evidence that proves that that thought is not correct? Does anyone want to share? Shoot, we're like, are we out of time or do we have, no, we have 15 more minutes, don't we? Do we go to, okay, sorry. I was absent last week, so I'm a little off. Anyone want to share their evidence or?
I can.
Okay.
So what's holding me back is I wrote time management, and it's kind of, yeah, I know that's stupid because I only work during the week. I only work Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I'm prioritizing other things, and I should be prioritizing Plexus if I want to see myself grow.
So Kate, let's dig into what your main thought is that's creating the feelings that's causing the inactivity that's making it so you're not growing your business. What is that main thought that's holding you back?
Well, I live in a chaotic place because
In your
we're
home,
in,
you mean?
yes, we're under construction. So everywhere I look, something needs to be done. I've gotten a lot of things done around the house lately, which feels good, but I feel like I need to do those things in order to have my space be peaceful to do the work that I need to do. Maybe I should just leave the house. I don't know.
That could actually be a really good idea. What I was
Yeah.
thinking, is there any space in the home where you don't feel that chaos, where you feel organized
Nope.
and peace? Nowhere?
No, no.
Where is your closet?
Maybe, I mean, the bathroom sometimes. Yeah,
Okay.
the bathroom's
It-
clean.
It could
Or
literally be,
sometimes my kitchen, but
yeah, I mean, it could literally be your walk-in closet, your bathroom, wherever it is that you can go and just kind of shut off all that distraction. Set an alarm on your phone for even 30 minutes. Can you imagine if you were to just take, 30 minutes, and you don't, let's say you work Wednesdays and Thursdays, so maybe just Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, you set a 30-minute alarm on your phone, you go sit in your closet where there's no distractions and you can't see the chaos. Would that be helpful at all? I mean, if it's a
yeah,
priority.
I could even sit in my car.
There you go.
That's an option.
Oh, that's when I get the best work done. Seriously, I can't tell you how many times when I would pull up at my house and I would just sit in my car for like 30 minutes because I was in the zone and I didn't have any dishes distracting me or any sourdough bread that sourdough discard that needs to be fed, whatever, all the things that are, as soon as you walk in the house, like, yeah, totally sit in your car. That's a good idea. But
And
yeah,
also,
so
can I just throw this in because it's also a factor is not only time management, but like I'm kind of floundering on like what should I focus my time on when I do sit down and I do the 30 minutes. Like what should I be doing to really move the needle? Should I be just doing 30 minutes of like reach outs? Should like that's a thing that I don't know. I should be spending that time doing.
okay, so
Because I'm doing plexus throughout the day, when people message me, or I might throw a post up, or I might go comment on people's things, like that's plexusing. But
yes.
the 30 minutes, should I focus that on reach outs?
Well, that's where you move the needle the fastest. So I would say if your priority is to grow your business, that is the number one place you have the most control to grow your business, right? So I would say make the priority out of getting that done first. Not that posting isn't important or responding to people, but like that's what consistently fills the funnel that keeps feeding your business. But it sounds like we might want to hone in a little bit more on what is your main thought that's holding you back. Because it sounds like that's a little wishy-washy. Like I'm not sure that I can totally, like I'm not feeling like you're 100% on this is the thought that's preventing me from growing my business right now. Is there a fear that you can
I don't know.
hone in on?
I mean, sometimes I don't, sometimes most of the time I don't really give a shit what other people think. I'm at that point, but then
That's
there's
good.
times where I do, like my goal is to serve people because this has been such a blessing, but then there's people that tend to be actually very close to me, family, that I fear are judging me. So that might hold me back a little
I
bit.
get that. Okay, so fear of judgment might be that thought, like the main one that's preventing you from moving forward. Does that?
Yeah, I mean that mixed with the chaos around me, like,
Okay.
and just balancing, working in the salon, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, got a friggin' bunny, cat, dog, like.
No, I hear you.
All the
Because I'm
things.
like you, Kate, because I can't operate in chaos. Like I literally can't. Like my brain's a disaster and going like that if it's
Yeah.
not like organized around
Well,
me. So I
And
totally,
I feel like if I'm spending time on Plexus, then I have like guilt for not doing something around the house. And then vice versa. If I'm doing something around the house, I have guilt about not doing Plexus. And that's where I'm at right now, is
Mhm.
that I am not focusing, I'm focusing on the house more than I am Plexus. So
Which is a higher
Um,
priority to you, and it's okay to say if your house is a higher priority.
mhm.
Can I just jump in
Yeah.
really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, like you guys kind of know what I've been through in the last year and a half, and I honestly felt like that, like from my basement flooding to going through a separation, through moving to a new city, to losing my mom, to starting a new job, like all these things. And it was like I finally, now that I'm kind of like on the other side of that hill, I've almost like, I'm like, you have to give yourself the time to go through that. And trying to force it when you're not ready is it's just going to put you further behind, honestly, because I was trying to force it. I was trying to be like feeling guilty for not doing this or not, like showing up or messaging people. And it was like I almost had to go through that time where I just had to be like just breathe and get through it. And then you find yourself over it when the construction is done and when the house is clean and when all those things, it's going to get there, but beating yourself up when you're in the midst of it is like it honestly, like now that I'm on the other side, I'm like, you know, it's a
Yeah,
huge eye opener.
it
So
can
like
feel
don't,
counterproductive. So I
yeah.
think, so that's a fair thought. I think it's fair, like Kate, and what we're saying is like, is Plexus a priority to you to build right now? If it is, then obviously like the house is a priority to you as well. And so you could say 75% priority house, 25% Plexus in my time that's not work or family specific. You know what I mean? So what would a priority, like time blocking, when you think about like how much time would I like to prioritize to Plexus each week? Like 3 days a week, 15 minutes or whatever it is. If that's all you were doing, that's probably going to be, you're probably going to be more productive with that and feel good, like you're making progress, even though like it might not feel like a lot, but that's better than just kind of being all over the place all the time and being like, I don't know what to put my finger on, like what's important to me right now. So I think it's really fair if you say, and it's okay, like if there's other priorities that come above Plexus, 100%, like your family's got to come before Plexus. Everyone should hopefully agree to that, or it's an unhealthy balance. And like your marriage, obviously, whatever other things come before Plexus, but where does it lie in there? And then based on what level of priority it is to you, how can you time block that in to make it fair? Okay, so Mike, and now we're kind of like totally sidestepping where we were trying to go. But what I want you to do is look for evidence of, so Kate, let's say your fear is that your family is judging you about sharing Plexus, okay? So we're just going to look for evidence that either that's not true or that even though they may not understand, there's value still in pushing beyond that. You know what I mean? So find yourself some evidence for that. And then we're going to come up with a different thought that combats that. You know what I mean? And that may be a trickier one to flip.
That is a
But-
tricky one, and I have encountered that as well with family members, and I have used it in a positive way. Oh, you're going to judge me? You don't think I can make money this way? Watch me.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and judge me. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so find a way to flip that around. I'm just going to use Jen's example because it's an easy one. So her fear is that she's afraid to sign people up because she doesn't take good care of them. So Jen, I want you to look for some evidence that you have been a great support to certain people. Like who can you think of, that comes to mind that like they have an amazing testimony because I shared Plexus and supported them well. They have a business. They're making income because I shared Plexus with them and supported them well. Look for evidence that fights that thought. Okay, whatever your thought is. And now we're going to flip that around. So the circumstance is still the same. My business isn't growing as fast as I would like. And now we're going to change the thought. So flip that thought around. And what might be, does anyone have an example that they thought of that would be a combating thought against the first one?
I'm contributing to my family by doing my Plexus.
That's a good one. Ooh, that would be a good one, Kate, for you to like, yeah, like you could kind of play with that a little bit to give you a new thought around, you know.
Yeah, especially if your family is your why. I'm doing this for my family.
I know it was 100% for me. So yeah, you can totally flip that on its head.
Mhm.
What were some of the other fears? Okay, Stacy, yours was you're afraid people are judging you when you're sharing Plexus. Do you have any evidence of anyone that's ever thanked you for sharing Plexus by chance, or they've had some benefits come into their life? Because, okay, so we can totally wipe that thought away and agree that that's actually not true because you have evidence otherwise, right?
Yes.
So what might be a combating thought that you can use instead?
People need what I have to offer.
Ooh, and you have evidence of that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Have you ever had someone tell you they like the way that you share?
I'd have to think about that. I don't recall.
Okay. I have had
Other than, yes, Michelle Smith.
Okay, right, yes.
Yeah.
So that's evidence, like you're afraid that people are gonna perceive you as salesy, but you have
Right.
evidence of people saying, "I like the way that you approach this."
Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Okay, and how did that make you feel, Stacy, when Michelle told you that?
I felt good. It made me feel like what I was doing was actually authentic and heartfelt and not salesy.
Love that. So what actions did that lead to when you felt that?
More sharing, more putting myself out there.
I love it. And then, so what would the results be if you continued to focus on that thought
Mm-hmm.
and look at that evidence on a daily basis and remind yourself, Michelle told me she loves the way I share Plexus. That makes me feel really good. So you know what? I'm going to go share some more Plexus because more people need this.
Yeah.
What will the result be from that?
Growing my business.
Yes, 100%. So do you see how we can flip those thoughts over and we can find evidence to prove that those thoughts that are holding us back are actually not true? We have evidence that says otherwise.
And not only did she like the way you did it, but she wanted to be a business builder and
Right away.
emulate you.
Yeah.
That's a
And
huge
that's
compliment,
what you're going to
Stacey.
attract if you
Yeah.
keep, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of our exercise. I'm going to share with the replay. I'll share the little PDF that is the outline for this, how to do the circumstance, thoughts, feelings, actions, results, and then flip it around. So this is something that you can use for yourself in all areas of life and wherever you find that there's a place you'd like to improve or change something. And also in your business, in working with your team and coaching them as well, even with your customers. When you're troubleshooting with a customer, like you can, you know what I mean? Like you can use this for so many valuable things. So I use it weekly, Megan. I love it. Okay. So I will share that and feel free to take advantage of that and Next week is end of month, so we'll be doing some end of month activities. So be here and let's finish the month strong, all right? Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.